Hey, what's going on guys, TheBrokenMachine here. Today I'm bringing you a new settings guide, including what FOV you may want to use, and looking into sensitivity settings as well. Let's start with the video settings. Brightness, I would highly recommend something between 50 and 60%. Going too high will result in a washed out looking image. Too low and you'll likely miss enemies hidden in the shadows. I use 60% personally. What works best will also depend on the monitor or TV you use. If you are using a TV, ensure you have the picture settings on it set to game mode, then start at somewhere between 50 and 60%, have a play, then adjust if necessary. Next setting is field of view or FOV. This is the extent of the observable game world seen on your display. The higher you go, the more you can see on your left and right, but at longer ranges, targets become much smaller and can be very easy to miss. The lower you go, the more zoomed in the image will feel. Targets will become much bigger though and easier to see, but your peripheral vision is lessened. For many users, low FOV can cause motion sickness. Have a play of it, it might do the same for you. I know it does for me as well, so I tend to try and stay away from lower FOV games. I personally use horizontal 85, horizontal 90 is a popular choice, and the highest I would recommend using. If you do sit quite far away from your TV or monitor, you may prefer a lower FOV. If that's the case for you, I would not recommend going any lower than the default FOV the game provides though. If you do, you will need to be checking your sides more often. Both high and low FOVs each have their own advantages and disadvantages. You can of course adjust your playstyle to compensate, but in my opinion, the more peripheral vision gained from having a higher FOV than default will help you out much more than the bigger targets seen on lower FOVs. Vehicle field of view in third person works exactly the same. Recommend going higher here so that you can easily see enemies around you and not get caught off guard as often. ADS field of view. With this off, you will zoom in when aiming down sight. With this set on, the field of view you selected before will apply when aiming down sight and there will be minimal zoom. With this off, targets are much bigger and easier to hit. Personally recommend having it off. No need for motion blur to be on 100%. Drop this down to 0. 100% will smoothen out the experience, but you may miss targets when turning. I have this set to 0. I would recommend you do the same. Weapon depth of field turned on will provide you with a shallow depth of field when aiming down sight. I used to have this on. At the time I felt I could focus much easier on the targets, but for the past month or so I've had it set to off, and I gotta say, with this on I did find it much easier to follow targets at longer ranges when using iron sights, but other than that, no other real benefits. So honestly, I would just have a play with both and see which you prefer. There's no right or wrong, it's just personal preference really with these. If you are colorblind, you may want to have a play with these final options here. I'm not colorblind, so I have no idea about these. Let's move on to audio. Keep master volume at 100%. Drop the music volume down if, like me, you find it annoying when the music kicks in at important parts. As great and beautiful as the music can be, it does often cover up important sounds. I do wish there was a fade in and fade out option while in game. Output stereo for me. Surround if you have a surround sound setup. Sound preset again set to what you have. Headphones for me. If you don't have the greatest TV or audio system, try the War Tapes preset. Voice language up to you. My team speaks my language. I have this on for the authentic kind of feel. Game announcer voice is up to you. Personally, I prefer the female voice. VoIP on if you wish to communicate with others, and leave subtitles on for cutscenes on operations mode. As for headsets, I use the Astro A40 headset with the mix amp. I have played around with the sound and I'm pretty sure it's best to set it to stereo in game and let the mix amp do the rest. Now gameplay. Hide the HUD if you want a much more difficult experience, would not recommend. Chat log and inventory I have set to when active. Switch to show if you want them on permanently, up to you. Crosshair visibility 100% for me. Lower it if you wish. again, your call on that one. Crosshair color is personal preference. Here's a few I would recommend. Pause the video if you need. I've used all of them. I quite like the orange. A nice bright green is always good, but sometimes I do like to change to a kind of paler blue. Have a look on the screen, see what you think, and try them out. Set kill log to show if you want to see the kill feed in the top right corner of your screen. You can also filter the feed if you want it looking nice and clean when you hit those feeds. Awards, I personally hide these. Up to you though. With this on, awards for ribbons, medals, and assignments will show up on your screen. For me, there's no need to see them. Vehicle seat info will show the vehicle seat icon on the bottom of the screen. That can be very helpful. Critical messages on for me personally, your choice. Share usage data, off for me. Read the text to the right, your call on that one. Hit indicator visibility is 100 for me. Lower it if you wish. Now hit color, I've got it set up so that I've got blue for hits, red for headshots, and green for kills. So I basically set this up to improve my reaction speeds and increase my time to kill. If it goes red, I know the enemy has been heavily wounded by a headshot, so I only need a quick body shot maybe. If it goes green, I instantly know to switch to a new target. If you're looking to improve your own reactions, then definitely try what I use or something similar. Damage base shape on means the hit indicator changes size and shape based on the damage type. Set it to on is what I recommend here. Minimap settings would recommend having a play with the on-foot zoom radius and the minimap size. Increasing the on-foot zoom radius will allow you to see a wider area on the minimap. Try 250, that might be a little too high for most. I'm probably going to tweak that further, but that's definitely a good place to start. Rotate with view, yes, if you want the minimap to rotate with your movement. Setting show stationary weapons to all will reveal all stationary weapons on your minimap. Highly recommend that. ADS icon opacity. If you wish for the icons on screen to lower in opacity while aiming down sight, then have a play with these settings here. Would not recommend going too far down though. Just maybe about 80% is something that I think would be quite nice. Now onto advanced. Turn soldier auto leaning and auto peek on if you like using these features. All you need to do to use these is stand near a wall or behind cover and aim. Parachutes auto deploy. It does what it says, your choice on that one. Context-based order giving. With this on, in-game, if you're a squad leader, you can just look at an objective and tap the spot button. With this off, you will need to open up the communicator rows and assign squad orders. R2 on PS4, right shoulder on Xbox, and Q on PC, I believe. Plane chase camera roll, on if you want the camera to roll with the plane, off if you don't. Aim assist won't apply to PC, but on console. Auto rotation on if you want to make it easier to snap onto targets. Personally, I have this off and just aim assist slowdown on. This will slow your aim down while on target. Often auto rotation will snap to the waist in a situation where you need a headshot to win, so highly recommend turning this off. Personally, I really do not like the snap to aim. Honestly, I would get rid of it if I could. Reload hint, your call on that one. Hint system off for me. Turn it on if you're new to the game and want to see hints about the game and how to use vehicles and stationary weaponry. After a while though, you'll probably want this off. It does get kind of annoying seeing hints all the time. Network performance graph. Turn it on if you're having connection issues and plan to record your gameplay and send it to the developers. This can be very helpful for them, but in a normal game, you probably don't really need this on, to be honest. Network performance indicators. Leave these on. An icon will appear on the top right of your screen when you or the servers are experiencing performance issues. Again, very useful if you're recording your gameplay and you want to send it into the developers. That can be very helpful for them. Now onto controls. Turn off vibration for better aim. Invert vertical look is up to you. Choose what you prefer. Same with the vertical flight. Soldier stick sensitivity. Highly recommend something between 20 and 30% for new players, maybe 50%. I personally use 100. Just use what works best for you. There's no right or wrong here, and 100 doesn't necessarily mean you're better. There's lots of great players on really low, like 20% sensitivity. It all depends on your playstyle and what kind of things you want to try and achieve. Aggressive kind of play can be quite tricky on lower sensitivities, so if you want to be a more aggressive player, you might want to up your sensitivity, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need to use 100. So just use what works for you, and if you think you need to adjust by like 10 points at a time. Don't go too far, don't get too crazy. Generally speaking though, lower is better for accuracy, and higher for faster reactions. Do choose wisely though, start low if you're new. On PC, I use 13% with 400 DPI, on console it's 100%. That's pretty low on PC, but it works for me. If you're on PC, that's a good place to start. Vehicle stick sensitivity, 60% for me. There's really no need for this to be on high. Your call though. Use what feels right. In the vehicles, it's pretty easy to aim, so I personally, I would just not have it too high. Soldier zoom sensitivity is at 100% for me, so my aim down sight sensitivity is the same as my hipfire. In games like Call of Duty, your sensitivity while aiming is slower than your hipfire sensitivity, so if you want the same feel, drop this down to 50%. The rest of these options, again, are all personal preference, no right or wrong here. I have the zooms and steady scopes on hold. Personally, I find it much easier to aim and react quickly this way. This might be different for you. Control schemes, again, are all personal preference. Highly recommend you do use the server browser, find an empty conquest game on St. Quentin Scar, jump in the vehicles and have a play around with the controller settings there. No need to worry about crashing planes or your stats, any deaths won't be counted. So if you're new to the game or you just want to polish up your skills in the vehicles, highly recommend finding an empty server and just having a go there. I do, however, recommend setting your soldier buttons to alternate. The right analog will now become your crouch button, and crouching down will be much easier and quicker to pull off. Make sure you go check out my guide on winning more gunfights, and right there you'll see why I use the right analog stick for crouch and how effective it can be. Now, advanced settings, dead zone. Default is 22%, I have mine on 15%. This is basically how much the stick needs to be pushed to register. If you go too low, your crosshair drifts all over the place, especially on higher sensitivities or with old controllers that may have seen some heavy use. Try and head into an empty server and have a play of this. Find a target to aim at and see if you can stop the sticks and snap onto a target. If you're constantly drifting all over, you may have the dead zone set to far too low, so bring it up a bit, start at 22% and work down from there. 0% doesn't necessarily mean better here, just see what works. On one controller 10% may be crazy, but on another controller 10% may be perfect, so you just have to try it and see what works, but 22% on the default isn't too bad. As for all these zoom sensitivity settings, leave them all on default 100%. This will ensure the best chance at maintaining muscle memory. Messing about with all these, especially if you're not an experienced player, could have a huge negative effect on your aim, your muscle memory, and overall progression as a player. Something you may not notice straight away, but will likely come with time, so would not recommend playing about with these too much. Vehicle aim relative control, again another vehicle control option that is personal preference. Decouple aim from turning set to on will allow you to drive a vehicle in one direction while rotating the turret in another. Recommend turning that on. Same for the vehicle passenger control option. Uniform soldier aiming. What this does is basically make every sight feel the same. So if you turn 90 degrees with a sniper to the right, then 90 degrees again to the right with a pistol, both will feel exactly the same. So I would highly recommend having this on and leave the coefficient on default. Also, if you're on PS4 and wish to aim with L1 and fire with R1, you'll want to head over to the PS4 settings menu, click accessibility, then button assignments, enable custom button assignments, click customize, and switch L1 with L2 and R1 with R2. Now you can aim with L1 and you can fire with R1, much easier and much more quicker to react, I think. Personally, highly recommend you do that. If you do want to play other games with this off, just click at the top again to disable, and when you come back to Battlefield, just click enable. Simple, done. And lastly, if you want a much smoother experience overall, instead of joining multiplayer via quick match, use the server browser on the multiplayer tab, click filter, reset the filter, choose your mode, choose slots up to 10 plus, change your region to yours, click view servers, and you'll be given a list of servers in your region. Click sort until sort by ping appears and servers with the best connection will show up at the top. You can even save some presets here. And that is it. That's all for this guide today. I hope it helps. Please drop a rating if it does help you in some kind of way. There will be more guides coming soon. And as always, thank you very much for watching, guys. Until next time, take it easy and catch you later. See you soon.